Let's respond to this.
Right, what she did. No. But it's not even comparable. If Pearl had said half as many things about black folks as this dude said about Asians, they would lose their goddamn minds.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. Another episode of the Celebrity Jump. Theme marvelous music. So, guys, there has been a back and forth between Abba and Preach in Charleston White. And of course, I really like Abba and Preach. I mean, the guy is really cerebral. He's a super intelligent guy. Probably one of the smartest commentators, if not probably the most brilliant commentator I've heard as a YouTuber on the platform. And Preach is not far from it. He's also a very intelligent, witty guy. They're an awesome team. I think they're the best duo that I've ever seen on the platform. And they really break things down in such a way. Their commentary is so elegant. It's very difficult to find holes in what they're saying because it's well thought out and it's really logical, which is why they have so many followers, right? They don't have, like, let's say, the greatest production in the world or a lot of whole gimmicks and stuff like that as far as edits, but, man, the commentary is amazing. And they've been really attacking this Charleston White thing from an angle that's kind of hard to get away from, right? And one of the things is that Charleston White, he's able to say things on YouTube and get away with what he says primarily because he's black. And I want to give an example of some of this speech. Now, some of the words will be bleeped out, but he is talking about Asian community, and this is right from Abba and Preach's video. We'll play that, and then we'll come back.
I hate Asians. I'm a hateful. I hate Asians. I hate Johnny Dang. I don't eat Chinese food. Only time I ever wanted some Chinese food was at a bathhouse. Some Chinese slave. I wouldn't dare. Yeah. I hate Chinese people. Shit, I don't give a fuck about China, man. I hate Chinese people. I think Chinese stores should be robbed. I think Chinese women should be brutally by big, well-hung black men.
Yeah, I think, for one, I think that specifically some of the stuff that this person says as far as Chinese people, I think it's not specifically that he's saying that he's hateful, but more jealous, I think. One, the whole thing about the Asian women starting off, I think that might be because Asian women tend to be very unfavorable towards black men. Statistically, it's been shown that. But also, not just that, I think that there's more of a jealousy towards Asian people sometimes because there's sometimes a thought that they're model minority, basically. And since other minorities aren't people with the same stereotypes, the same statistics, the same kind of, I guess, respect, then they get jealous of Asian people because they feel like they are placed in an inferior position. And then they feel like, how come they're put in that position when they're a minority, I guess? And so then that's why they act out like that. I just find it really interesting with these type of people. Why sometimes it's expected that black people can be somehow racist to Asian people or white people or Hispanic people or black people for that matter, and still be allowed to basically be racist to all these races of people. But somehow, if anyone says anything about them, they're so racist and they're so wrong. It's like it's a Teflon situation where black people feel like they can be racist to everybody and they shouldn't have any repercussions in the other regard. This is common among racist people I've interacted with through time, where they will have this idea that they can have all these negative views about you based off of race, but you better not have the same views, It's really interesting, and it's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you can't expect, like, black people to be allowed to be racist like this, and then others not to come up with the same conclusions about themselves. And it's not acceptable. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying black people should have racism expressed to them. I'm saying that if you're going to be bigoted, if you're going to be racist, and you're going to invite racism, if you're going to embrace racism, then you embrace racism against yourself as well. It's a two-way street, especially since black people don't have power in this country. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Black people shouldn't have power, honestly. And I don't know why people don't realize this, but black people are only a minority. They're not a majority. And in our country, the way it used to be, at least, it was basically based off of the majority, the will of the people. So the majority of our population has the largest say. Black Americans are not the majority of the population, therefore they do not have the largest say. So it's not beneficial to have racist views. This is why it is never a good idea for black people to express racism, because it will backfire, especially when we express those type of racist views against white people specifically. It is very detrimental to us because the majority of our society is white. And you see this often, like O'Shea Duke Jackson, for one. He specifically expresses a lot of anti-white rhetoric. And it's so stupid to me because it's like, you're talking to an audience that isn't in Africa with you. I understand you left because you wanted a black majority, but he doesn't speak to a population that is mainly in Africa, but rather in America. And it's very weird. It's like, how can we have a perspective that you have in Africa when we don't live in a place that's majority black? Anyway, that's just my opinion on that. A little bit of a tangent, but yeah. Anyway, that's just my view on racism. Continue.
Alright, shall I get what?
That hate Chinese women. China Mac. I think Chinese babies should be and use this alligator bait.
What the fuck?
That mother has done some similar shit behind closed doors. That's the problem. That's the problem. When he admits to certain crimes, sometimes he's being serious, and other times it's just a joke. It's like, what?
Yeah, he has talked about the fact that he has raped people. So it is his fantasy and his desire to talk about rape often, about rape of children, I guess, and I guess he's a pedophile as well. Considering he has said in the past that he raped women, it's pretty clear if he's talking about raping children, he's probably raped children and likes the rape of children, as he said here. It's obviously not a joke, And this is beyond racism. It's just a situation, in my opinion, where this person is, a depraved individual, a person who is, has obvious demonic desires, sadistic, desires, and he's just letting it out for people to see, because sometimes these type of people need other people to witness them being this sick, basically, because they never get to actually openly talk about it, and this is their way of telling people in a joking matter, because they don't want to specifically tell the details and end up in jail. And they don't want to keep it inside and let it just eat them up alive. So then this is their way of letting it out, basically. Continue.
What am I listening to?
You can't be as a joke all the time.
Oh, that's what rappers try to do. Yeah. Oh, it's art, it's art. Meanwhile, you snitch on who the body was, when you did it, where you did it, and the police find it. Why would they think it's a joke? You get me?
That's not snitching.
Clearly it's not a joke when you have a body. Ooh, shoot.
KFC's $5 Mac.
Make your video stand out the easy way with CapCut. First, open CapCut and import a video you want to
Sorry
play.
about the commercial.
Meanwhile, they had a lot to say about just pearly things and like the minimal stuff that she did. But don't get me wrong, I ain't with what she did.
Shit, I don't give a fuck about
Don't think about it too long.
The thing that
But
happened.
think about it, honestly. Like just take a second. When he admits to certain crimes, sometimes he's being serious, and other times it's just a joke. It's like, what am I listening to?
You can't be as a joke all the time.
Oh, that's what rappers try to do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's art, it's art. Meanwhile, you snitch on who the body was, when you did it, where you did it, and the police find it. Why would they think it's a joke? You get me?
That's self-snitching again.
Beyond even just self-snitching, it's like we need to stop pretending like some of these people who are saying this stuff online are all doing these under the guise of jokes, or all doing these under the guise of whatever. It's like I said, if they got them skeletons behind closed doors, sometimes it's okay to look a little bit deeper and say them words is not just jokes. And it didn't sound like a joke to me. I don't even know how anybody can look at this stuff and say this is humorous. Talking about he wants children to be sodomized. Think about that. Don't think about it too long.
The thing that
But
happened.
think about it honestly. Like just take a second. Irrespective of whatever history there is or whatever, think about grown men today wishing on children.
That's.
Like, I don't know. It's just when you like, there's a certain element of like self-preservation and wanting different. But I can understand. You're talking about sodomizing children.
It's like, what are you trying to say in that joke? Like, when you do a joke, there's an actual process of doing it.
And you have to think, obviously, someone who says things like that, they're trying to tell you something, probably. They're probably trying to tell you that that's what they've done. They're trying to say it in a joke because they can't tell you in reality. If he just got on there and told people details of him raping a child or raping a woman, obviously he would go to jail. So he doesn't tell details, but he basically tells you the outline. Enough to get it off his system, get it out of his system, basically, and feel more comforted that he was able to tell people about this. Continue.
It's not just saying stuff and wild stuff in order to have a reaction.
No.
That's not what a joke is. There is a process. There's a way to do a joke. There is a recipe to do that joke. Okay? Setup, premise, punch. There's some key word. There's no setup, there's no premise, there's no punch. You're just saying sentences.
Yep.
There's a difference between saying sentences and doing actual comedy. A lot of people out there, it's not everybody that make people laugh that are comedians. Okay? Some of y'all are clowns. And I don't even know what the hell that is that's going to make you laugh about this. There's no setup, there's no premise, there's no punch. Yes, you can laugh about everything, but there's a way to do it. Yeah, people do hide themselves behind the whole thing about, it's a joke, it's a joke.
It's a character.
It's a prank,
It's a character. Turns out the thing he was joking about is the very thing he did.
You're being very wild right now. Even the prank thing. Yo, it's a prank, bro. Why are you mad? It's a prank. Like, I'm not supposed to be mad at pranks. It's the same thing.
I'll be honest with you. I don't hear white folks online say half as crazy shit about black folks or any other group that this man has said about
They
Asian
can't.
folks. I have never heard. I've heard some foul stuff from race, but I've never heard anything even similar to that. So children, how long do you want to go back in the past to be able to justify the fucked up shit you're saying and doing today?
What I seen in that video is that all that was said because he hates one dude that happens to be of Asian descent. Okay? I question you. Whenever you want to go at somebody, but you're going to go into foul shit like that has nothing to do with what the hell that person said, I'm like, nah, you're not the one. There's so many things that you could have said about what he did and what you don't like about what he did, but you're going to insult the whole thing. It's like I remember back in the days when I was in elementary school or high school, and then you started arguing with a white person, and the minute they didn't have anything to say, well, came out really quick.
You know what kills me? Like a lot of people.
Well, to me, how that works is sometimes people, when they're just insulting each other, do things like that because, well, you guys are fighting and insulting each other. If you are insulting another person, don't be surprised when they insult you. It's kind of obvious. I never understood why people specifically act like, if someone says something that is racist or whatever to you when you've already insulted them, why are you surprised to me, I wouldn't be surprised because I insulted them first, right? So it should be expected that someone will insult you when you insult them. I don't think there's anything that's hands off. Well, I mean, like, specifically, like, threats, like saying I'm gonna kill you or something, but saying you're a whatever, that's the same thing as what you said, basically. But it's just a different aspect of life that they are making fun of than what you are making fun of. But you both are making fun of each other. You both are calling each other names. The only problem in this situation is many of the time when someone brings up the race, the person who is specifically being hit with a racist racial slur, an insult, racist insult, I guess you could say, is specifically, more offended than what they threw at the other person. And it's just like, well, if you really pay attention to it, it's just that one hit the other harder than the other did. Maybe come up with a harder insult for that person. I don't know. But to me, I don't really think when you're in the middle of a fight and you are specifically throwing insults at one person and they come up with racial insults back at you, to me it's like, well, you guys were insulting each other. It's kind of like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't think anything is off limits besides, like I said, like threatening to kill someone or something, threatening to hurt someone, Anyway, continue.
Or caping and like defending this dude or whatever he says. Yeah. Meanwhile, they had a lot to say about just pearly things and like the minimal stuff that she did. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't with what she did. No. But it's not even comparable. If Pearl had said half as many things about black folks as this dude said about Asians, they would lose their goddamn minds. They lost their goddamn minds over the innate of what he said. Yeah, so this is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, if a white person said that about a black person, anything of what he said, they would be canceled, their channel would be removed, and they probably wouldn't exist online. They would definitely be canceled throughout the internet. Like, they would be banned from all sorts of social media, like not just YouTube, but like everywhere. We've seen this with people who do say way less than anything along the lines of, like, even if someone's not racist, what if they are a believer in, limited immigration or something along those lines? People will try to ban them all across social media, and they may not have even attacked black people to begin with. Someone said the things he just said about Asians, about black people, I don't even know. Some people would advocate for them being murdered, because sometimes people even think racist people don't deserve to even live, which I do not think. I think racist people can live, they have a right to live, they live their life and whatever. I do think that, people like him who are rapists deserve to be put in prison for the rest of their lives. I do not personally believe in the death penalty for rapists, but I do believe in life in prison. But it's kind of like this with the death penalty to me. I do think that a lot of people think like that. People who are, rapists, and if they deserve to be, put to death, I wouldn't complain about it too much. I just don't really think it's really specifically warranted, because I feel like if you don't take a life, you don't need to give a life, kind of thing. And I do believe that, like, in the case of murder, that you do, deserve to give your life in those cases. But yeah, when it comes to rape and stuff like that, I don't have that much of an issue with people like that being put to sleep. But I just don't personally think that that's the most appropriate thing to do. But yeah, I don't mind if that was put in place. We do need much stricter prison sentences and penal systems, basically. People need more capital punishment in this country, honestly. And I do believe, like, when it comes to, like, appeals and things of that nature, we need to cut that down, make it, like, much shorter time periods between a death sentence and specifically the execution date and so forth. Continue, though.
With me with people, it's like, you guys are willing to defend black men who do the most disgusting and say the most foul things because they're directed at other groups.
Now, in this video entitled "Black Folks Are Defending a Proud Predator," these guys make a really interesting point, and they have mentioned the Jess Pearly thing situation. They have not made a video about it, but you heard it there. They made a mention of it, and they said some things that it's kind of hard to get around. Us as black people, because we have had issues with other groups, and obviously these guys are not American, they are Canadian, so they may have been in America.
With SpotMe, I can overdraft up to $200 fee-free.
Install the Chime app today.
But they probably don't know some of the history that certain groups have had with blacks, especially the Asian community and the African American community, or let's say, for example, the African American community and Hispanics or whites or even other immigrants. I don't know what the temperature is in Montreal where they're from, but the reality is because of some of the mistreatment that maybe some blacks have felt that they've received from the other side, when Charleston White is saying the same things about, let's say, in this case, China Mac, some black people will take their frustration with certain people in the Asian community and then sort of join the echo chamber with Charleston White. This is not everybody, right? But because of some of the things that, let's say, the Asian community can say about blacks, and then blacks can't say anything about the Asian community, then they feel like he's vindicated, okay? And I'm not going to get into that because that conversation I'm willing to have, like, off the platform, but I can understand because, yes, minorities, there is that tension between different groups in America, for sure. The one good point they made is that if somebody white has said the same thing about blacks, like just Pearly things, we will be all over it. In which we are, most of us, many of us are over it. But when he talks about the things about, let's say, doing things to children, and, you know, when he pulls up on the live stream, I mean, yes, what's up, Unc? We support you, things like that. I mean, and I get that's that racial solidarity thing that almost every group can practice without knowing that it's there. But he makes a good point. Don't expect other people to care about your issues if you act like that. Well, here's just my one thing, and again, they don't agree with Just Pearly things. I definitely don't agree with Charleston White. But despite people in Charleston White's comment section caring about black people's issues, I mean, I think it's very evident that for many years people have not, as a whole, done so. Now, some groups have, right? But I get the overall gist of what he is saying. In other words, black people are willing to support foolishness than support something that actually matters. And there's a level of selective outrage, which exists in different groups. But let me take it a step further. You know, Charleston White gets a lot of publicity for what he does, right? But, you know, you have a platform like Earn Your Leisure right here on YouTube. Great podcast, how to do things, how to get money, how to develop yourself. And this cannot get supported by as many blacks as we should have supported. This is something that we don't do. But yet, when you have Charleston White, because he's, you know, entertaining and things like that, and this is what we're gravitating to, how do you expect people to take you that serious? And I mean, it's an argument you can't really get away from. You know, I get what they're trying to say. I definitely get what he's trying to say, and I do get what he's saying. And again, if this is what people are supporting, but at the same time, you know, cry racism.
You can't cry racism when you are the main one perpetuating racism. You just can't. You can't cry racism when you are the main one with the most racist views. You can't. So many times black people try to cry racism, but the most racist things being said is from black people. So don't be the one that you're complaining about, because if you are the one you are complaining about, then you can change it. You have issues with racism, then you need to change your racist mindset, because maybe, just maybe, the claims and the associations you have with saying people were racist or whatever might be from your own prejudice that you are having, because you are a racist. So therefore you label people off of stereotypes, racial stereotypes. So then you assume they're racist off of your racism. I'm just saying, you basically undermine your whole premise when you are extremely racist, as many of you are. And I'm not saying black people, I'm saying many people like O'Shea Duke Jackson, many people like Charleston White, many people who congregate around these types of people who have similar mindsets as these people. Specifically, they think that their racism is okay because they're black. They feel that their racism should be acceptable because they are black. But then they don't realize that their racism is the obvious reason for them accusing others of racism, because they see everything through race. They are prejudiced to people based off of their race, and they're hateful to people because of their race. So then you can't take them seriously at the end of the day when they say, oh, someone was racist to me, when the main person being racist is you. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, everyone. Comment down below and have a great day. Bye, guys.